Hello, FreshBaked. Let's talk about what's new at the Disneyland Resort. Today, I want to talk to you about comments made yesterday by Bob Chapek regarding the reservation system, a lawsuit against Disney being brought by a reported 25,000 cast members, an update to the Magic Key calendar on the Disneyland website that may make it easier for guests to make a buying decision, and after closing access to the Haunted Mansion for Magic Key holders. All this coming up next on FreshBaked. Hello again, everybody. Welcome back to FreshBaked. We've got things that I want to talk about on the Disneyland news front, and as mentioned, we're going to be starting with comments that Bob Chapek made yesterday when speaking at the Goldman Sachs 30th Annual Communicopia Conference. Specifically, comments that he made about the Park Pass reservation system that's currently in use at both Walt Disney World and here at the Disneyland Resort. Basically, he praised the system, saying it is the backbone of operations today and that it has increased operational yield while maintaining the right mix of guests in the park.
And again, the shutdown enabled us a chance to sort of re-engineer things and build the systems necessary to do that. The backbone of the whole thing, though, is our reservation system, because it gives us the ability now to really, on a real-time basis, direct people, ensure that we have the right mix of guests in the park, and control the demand in ways that, frankly, we've never been able to do.
That is, of course, to mean that it has increased efficiency operationally, is maximized profits or helped to maximize profits operationally, and has helped to spread guests out throughout the entire week rather than having, let's say, busy weekends and not so busy weekdays. Which, of course, that's been the goal from the very beginning, and it's a point that I don't think anybody would argue. It was supposed to do all those things, and I'm sure it is doing all those things. But I would argue that that is only half of the story when it comes to the reservation system. The reservation system is working as far as those measurables are concerned, but I think the jury's still out on whether or not this has been a net positive on the bottom line. The reservation system has definitely kneecapped ticket sales, both single-day tickets and Magic Key passes. And in the case of the latter, word is that a lot of guests are opting for the lower tier passes, the less expensive passes, as opposed to the more expensive Believe and Dream Key. This due to the limitations regarding reservations. They are scared off. They don't want to pay full price for a pass that is supposed to have no blockout dates, but you wind up not being able to go on some days that you want to go because they're sold out. Meanwhile, the lack of paid parking for all but the top tier is also inhibiting merchandise sales. People are spending less when they get into the park, and this is because budgets are finite. Money is finite. So if they're having to spend $25 for parking where they wouldn't normally, that's in many cases $25 less than they're going to spend inside the park. In other words, stay tuned to this story because I don't think it's fully written yet. There's still a chance that the reservation system could end in spite of these comments, and in spite of how others might interpret these comments. There's still a chance because it's not working exactly as they want it to. Okay, next, there is news that some 25,000 Disneyland cast members are preparing to or are scheduled to file a suit against the Disney company. Long story short, the basis of this suit is to enforce Measure L. Measure L is an initiative that became law in 2018, and it's one that requires any business that receives subsidies from the city, aka rebates or incentives to do a certain thing. If a company receives subsidies from the city, it is then required to pay a living wage. That is a wage that is in excess of the minimum wage, and as it was legislated in this measure, that was to be $18 an hour, and they were supposed to increase it to that amount by 2022. Disney hasn't done this yet, though it's not yet 2022, but there's also the consideration that Disney doesn't believe that they are required to do this. This brings to mind Disney's decision to cancel that hotel project that they were going to build in downtown Disney. Part of that agreement to build the hotel and everything else around it were 2 tax subsidies from the city of Anaheim. And some believe that Disney's decision to cancel that project, which was pretty interesting at the time because it came shortly after the announcement, Disney's decision to cancel that project was because they wanted to, by extension, cancel the subsidies that they were supposed to receive, cancel them so that they wouldn't be obligated to increase the minimum wage or to provide a living wage at $18 an hour. And so this suit, the reason why we're even having it go to court is probably because there is a disagreement with whether or not Disney's required to do this. Some believe that they are required to pay this or to provide a living wage because of the subsidies. Some believe, obviously, that they are not required to pay that living wage. I believe, and this is just, I'm going off memory now, I believe that even though that they did cancel those subsidies, there was another subsidy that Disney received from the city as it related to, I think it was construction of parts of or all of downtown Disney. I would have to look into that a little further, but I have a feeling that that's what they're going to argue, is that there are some subsidies outside of those that they were supposed to but didn't get for the recent hotel project. Fascinating stuff, this, and without getting into who is right or who is wrong, because this is way above my pay grade. I don't have enough information to say one way or the other. I will say this. I would love it if Disney would just go ahead and pay their cast members $18 an hour or whatever the living wage is these days anyway, especially the frontline cast members, because they deserve $18 and more. Disney CMs have our full faith and full support. We love Disney CMs, and I want to see them get everything that's coming to them. Okay, let me get off my soapbox here for a second and talk about some news regarding Magic Keys. Not the Magic Key holders, but prospective Magic Key holders. I have often been asked by fans who are looking to get a Magic Key if there was some way for them to see which days are sold out before they make their purchase. Not just the blockout calendar, mind you, but the blockout calendar and, again, any days that have been sold out, days that are supposed to be available to Magic Key holders. Until recently, you had to buy a Magic Key in order to see that calendar. You could only see the blockout calendar, but that has changed recently on the Disneyland website. This is a screenshot taken yesterday, and you can see now that not only does it show which parks are available with the icons on the calendar and which days are blocked out, those are the days with the slashes through them, but also which days are sold out. And I think the idea behind this is to give prospective purchasers some level of comfort who, might be on the fence about whether or not to get one because they have a fear that there's a bunch of sold out dates before they even make their purchase. Seeing the calendar and all those dates opened up with the exception of maybe the most recent week or two, which those are plenty of sold out dates for the most recent week or two, but perhaps, they're afraid of future situations, but they can see the calendar today. If they were to buy, a pass today, they can make a whole bunch of reservations in, next week or the week after that. And I say this, I make that observation because, as I mentioned earlier, I get the feeling that keys are not being sold at the pace with which Disney had expected. And their understanding is the same thing that we're seeing, is that people are afraid to get one because they're not getting, especially the higher tiers, the Believe and Dream keys, because they're afraid they're going to spend $1,400 and then have a bunch of dates sold out before they even, make a purchase. Another situation to pay attention to and to see what Disney does with regard to how quickly they're refreshing those dates. That's something that we've been watching. How often is Disney putting in more dates, adding dates on top of what was previously available? Because we have seen in the past, I've already done this a few times myself, where there was a date sold out. I went back in 2 days later and it wasn't sold out. So, they are definitely massaging this system in some way. Okay, and then finally for you Magic Key holders, we have a little bit of news. You might have seen our video that we did recently on this topic, but Magic Key holders are getting an extra hour of access after hours, after the park closes, typically at 11 p.m. You can go to the Haunted Mansion and you can ride it for an extra hour after the park closes for Magic Key holders. This is happening from now until October 7th, Mondays through Thursday. Liz and I did this already on, Monday, I think it was. We went on Monday. We had a great time. It was fantastic. I loved it. There's an initial, group of guests that are doing it at the very beginning. But, after the first 15, 20 minutes, most of those have done their thing and they've gone home. We had the entire mansion to ourselves for our last two rides. It was pretty great. And then on top of that, you get to walk out from the Haunted Mansion pretty much with an empty, just completely desolate Disneyland in pristine condition. It's beautiful. It's majestic. I highly recommend you take advantage of this from now until October 7th, weekdays, Mondays through Thursday. That's it for today, guys. But stay tuned, obviously, to FreshBaked because we got lots more stuff coming for you. We got tons of videos to come out. So until the next video, please do be safe out there. Be kind to one another. FreshBaked.